Thank you guys for joining us for this lunch and learn. Essentially today we're going to be talking about COVID recovery and the lending industry, as well as CloudMyBiz and Fundingo and how we work with Salesforce. So just to provide an introduction, my name's Chris. I'm the account executive here at CloudMyBiz. Henry, he's unable to make our call today, but he's the CEO of CloudMyBiz and the founder. So to set an agenda for the call, we're going to be going over CloudMyBiz, who we are, what we provide, who we work with, what our solutions look like, and then we'll go into the actual presentation of how COVID has affected the lending industry. Then we'll provide our contact information. We'll send the deck over so you guys have it handy in case you want to reach out. And then we'll do a Q&A. So if you guys could leave any questions for the end, then that'd be perfect. So in terms of who we are, CloudMyBiz was founded in 2013. We are a Salesforce Crest partner. And what we do is we really specialize in providing solutions to clients in the alternative lending industry. Alternative lending, just to define that term, really it's any sort of lending that occurs outside of a traditional banking institution. So this would include like private lenders in the mix. So in terms of what we provide, really it comes down to three different categories. One would be Fundingo, which is our loan management software that adds functionality on top of standard Salesforce. Really, Fundingo is an end-to-end system, so it encompasses origination, underwriting, and servicing. A lot of clients like Salesforce, they're familiar with it. It's, obviously the most popular CRM, but really oftentimes they're looking for loan management functionality above the standard CRM capabilities of Salesforce. So that's where we come in by providing that through Fundingo. And just to give like an idea of some of the features we provide things like step management, verification management, an online application for applicants to submit loan applications, also loan servicing portals, payment management to keep track of payments, renewal management. So those are a few different areas that we can help with Fundingo. Then CloudMyBiz, we work more on the implementation and consulting side for Salesforce. We've worked on a pretty wide variety of projects in that area for lenders. Then finally, integrations to LexisNexis products. For those that aren't aware, LexisNexis essentially provides products used by a lot of underwriters. So if an underwriter, for example, needs to verify or check a person's legal name just to make sure that it's actually accurate, or if a business has a lien on it, then they would use LexisNexis products as part of their due diligence process. And we provide a few different integrations between Salesforce and some of those products like Bridger and Accurate, for example. So this is some of our SaaS clients. We work with a pretty wide variety in the lending space. So for example, we work with a lot of different cash advance companies like Imperial Advance right here. Also equipment finance companies with Triumph Business Capital. And pretty much anybody who's using LexisNexis, we have the possibility of working with them through our integrations. And we have some big names like LendingTree and Fannie Mae there too. So just to give a more clear idea of exactly what Fundingo is, I include a few screenshots of what it looks like. So this is a dashboard from the perspective of the VP of Finance. And as you can see, the look and feel is very similar to Salesforce, and that's really what we were aiming for. We wanted to make a look and feel that was familiar for Salesforce users. And that's kind of what we did in designing the UI. We added like a lot of different statistics and reporting capabilities. that go above and beyond the standard vanilla Salesforce capabilities. So as you can see, for example, new fundings, payments collected, portfolio balance, the number of active loans, late payments, collections, payment frequency. We also have a renewal management system, payments by day, and funded by month. So that's what the dashboard would look like. Then just to give you an idea of what the actual loans themselves would look like, we have a loan object right here. And yeah, like I mentioned before, look and feel is very similar to standard Salesforce. We just really add the loan management functionality on top of what Salesforce provides. So you can see, for example, funded date, funding amount, the term, payback, origination fee, ACH information for the payments, payment frequency, amount, really all the essential information regarding a loan is on this details tab. And yeah, I'm sure if anybody who's used Salesforce would be familiar with, for example, Chatter. So that comes with it. Also the activity tab, that's also included. We have related, and you can see the related list right here. So just to go into a little bit more detail on that, for example, we have repayment schedules, amortization schedules, GL transactions. We do support syndications, as you can see right here, and then transactions to keep track of the loan balance. So yeah, this is what it would look like. Now we're going to go into the actual presentation of COVID recovery and the lending industry. So in terms of what lenders have done well so far, there's really two that stick out. One would be MCAs that use split processing. So I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with the concept of an MCA, but essentially an MCA is a merchant cash advance. And what that is that it's a lump sum payment to a business in exchange for an agreed upon percentage of future credit card and or debit card sales. So to give like a specific example, if I owned, say, like a restaurant and I had like an urgent business need that needed like fixing right away, like for example, the roof starts leaking, I would be able to get a merchant cash advance for $10,000. The lender would give me 10K. And then in the future, for the next year or so, I would agree to give a certain percentage of my credit or debit card sales. And obviously there would be like a little bit of a payment above the 10K that I was given. So I would pay back, I would get 10K. I would pay back, like, for example, 14K to the lender. So they get their cut. So MCAs, there's two types. One is using split processing, where we actually split the credit card payments by giving a percentage away. Then there are MCAs that don't use split processing. So those would be MCAs that have like a fixed payment where I get 10K as a restaurant, and then I agree that daily until the loan is paid off, I'm going to pay off, for example, $100 or whatever amount. So those are the two types, but really with the pandemic, we've noticed that MCAs that use split processing have been doing really well. The reason is pretty straightforward. So essentially they're less risky for businesses because how much they pay back really depends on how well the business is doing. A bad sales week leads to a small payment. So obviously with a volatile economy, given the pandemic, that is important for businesses. So the other type of a company is invoice factoring companies. Invoice factoring, essentially, it's a way for businesses to fund cash flow by selling their invoices to a third party at a discount. Just to give like a more intuitive explanation for exactly how it works. If I, for example, own a business and I have a bunch of invoices that I'm waiting to be fulfilled, essentially what I could do instead of waiting for those invoices to come in is I can sell the invoices to the factor company. So I receive the cash now, but it's just gonna be like at a small discount. So if I have like 100K invoices pending, I can get them factored and get 95K right now instead of waiting a couple of weeks for those invoices to come in and be fulfilled. So yeah, obviously, like really the benefit of invoice factoring is that you're getting cash now as opposed to waiting later. And given COVID and all the lockdowns, it's very useful when cash reserves dry up. If I'm a business and I need like cash right away, then invoice factoring is definitely a very useful tool at my disposal, and that's why they've been doing well. So in terms of what lenders will lag during the recovery, really it's two types of lenders we've identified. One is consumer lenders. So we know consumer lending took a big hit in 2020 and recovery will be slow in 2021. We have a link just detailing some of the statistics around that. So I'll send the deck over and you guys can take a more detailed read. Then there would also be MCA companies that don't use split funding. So this is what I was referring to before, where there's like a fixed payment involved. Yeah, instead of giving away a percentage of credit / debit card sales, borrowers pay a fixed amount, and usually it's on a daily basis. And that, like, when you're using MCAs in that way, you don't have the benefit of the payment scaling with your business. And also because of PPP funding, businesses are getting those loans instead of MCAs. So what lenders will flourish during the recovery? We noticed a few. So CDFIs are definitely going to see a big increase in government spending. And a CDFI, essentially, that's a community development financial institution. What they are is they're lenders that loan out at lower interest rates for their communities. And essentially, with COVID, the government decided they're going to be giving subsidies to these CDFIs. So those should definitely flourish as we approach the recovery. Also, a lot of CDFIs have gotten into the business of doing PPP loans. So obviously that's a big help for them. And mortgage lenders, they are going to see their standards ease in 2021. So they should see an increase in volume. And finally, fintech lenders, just with the rise of technology during the pandemic, they should definitely see an increase in volume as we approach the recovery pretty soon. So what software functionality will be most important to lenders going forward? We've identified a few key components that are really going to be essential as we proceed with the rest of 2021. One would be loan modifications. So a lot of lenders we've talked to have needed to modify the terms of a loan, for example, deferring payments for a while or for forbearances, because a lot of borrowers have been running into short-term stress with the pandemic. Yeah, we've had like a lot of lenders approach us and ask us for asking us to modify Fundingo so that we can accommodate forbearances and other loan term changes. So we've been accelerating that as part of our roadmap. And right now, we're pretty capable in that aspect. Then there are integration to underwriting tools, like, for example, LexisNexis and Experian. And just to give a little bit more context regarding that, given the volatile economy with COVID, underwriters are doing more frequent checks on clients just because people's employment situations are changing more often given the conditions right now. So yeah, having the integration between Salesforce and LexisNexis and Experian, that's very important. Saves a lot of time because if we're doing more frequent checks, then it saves a lot of time if we don't have to go back and forth between systems, and we can just stay within Salesforce without the back and forth. So finally, on the servicing side, we have document automation. So yeah, given COVID, there's been an increase in the amount of paperwork involved. So for example, delinquency letters are being sent out on a higher volume basis. And a lot of lenders have requested automation for those aspects of the process. So yeah, that's something that with Fundingo, we've been helping a lot of lenders with, just automating the workflows around generating those documents as well as sending them out. So yeah, that's about it for the presentation. Here is my contact information. I'll be sending this deck out so you guys have it handy and can look over the information. Yeah, really, if any of the Salesforce AEs are interested in working together, or if you just want to see what Fundingo looks like on a more detailed basis, feel free to reach out. We could coordinate a demo and I can show you around and give you some more information on how Fundingo could potentially help out some of your clients or prospects that you're speaking to. So yeah, there's my contact information if you want to reach out. And we're going to be opening up the floor to a Q&A if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I got a quick question. You know, on the implementation side of things, do you guys do a lot of work in the SB space, like with small business AEs?
Yeah, I would say so. We work with a pretty wide variety of clients on implementation services.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say SB is definitely one of the big fields we work with.
Okay. And is the Fundingo piece really the bread and butter for you guys?
Yeah, I would say that most of our clients that reach out to us are interested in Fundingo. If I had to break it down, I would say it's probably about 90% of what we do is providing Fundingo.
Okay. And
yeah,
Fundingo, does that show up as like an OEM on the Salesforce side?
it wouldn't be OEM. So clients would need like Salesforce licenses on top of the Fundingo licenses.
Got it.
It's more like a plugin that sits on top of Salesforce as opposed to replacing it like an OEM would.
And what's the cost?
Yeah, so in terms of pricing, it really varies depending on client. So with Fundingo, we have some functionality that is used by a pretty wide variety of clients, but we often have clients reach out to us with a lot of custom requirements. So we have to actually build out those customizations on top of the base Fundingo system. We have two modules. One is origination/underwriting. We combine those two. The second is servicing. And I would say on average, for like a pretty standard implementation, it would be about maybe like $25K for one of the modules. And obviously that can like increase a lot depending on if we're talking to a client who has a very high number of customizations they need, that could go up to like, for example, 150K. So it really is a pretty wide range depending on the client's needs.
Gotcha. That's super helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there's also like a license that would be monthly on top of the implementation fee.
All right, makes sense. I appreciate that.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions? Okay, awesome. Yeah, if nobody has any other questions, then we'll just wrap up. So yeah, I'll send over this deck. I'll also include some more information regarding, just CloudMyBiz and Fundingo that everybody can look over. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining this Lunch and Learn. We hope it was helpful.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you guys.
Really cool.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Randy, later.